And we are live yet again for the 61st episode of the TRU-U podcast. Today we got my boy Cesar Ramirez on with us, and Cesar and I have worked together in the past. Great dude. He's bred from the music industry, man. This guy is in Los Angeles, California. He's a Latin American CSAC Pop award-winning songwriter, producer, and accomplished multi-instrumentalist. He has worked with the likes of Kanye West, Janet Jackson, Bella Thorne, KCamp, Melly, Tyrese, 50 Cent, Akon. A lot more than that, bro. You got a lot on this list. So you're platinum and gold certified. You've got quite the history, brother. It's a blessing to have you on. Thanks for joining me. It's been
happy to be here.
It's been a minute, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen you in a while.
I know.
Yeah. What's I guess a good way to kick it off, like just like, working together in the past with you in music and then seeing COVID, like what's happened? Like, how's COVID impacted you? Like, how have you grown through that? Like, was there anything that I guess the story with music recently and transitioning?
Man, that's a great question, man. First and foremost, thank you so much for having me on here, man.
Yeah.
Super hype, to reconnect with you and to be able to, to share my experiences and,
100%.
talk about the industry, man, and everything that we're all, going through and getting in this together, man. So, for me, my perspective on COVID, I have several, man, but I think I'll just keep it simple. I think for me with COVID, it helped me sort of really be internal about a lot of the processing. I know for a lot of people, a lot of creatives, a lot of cats in the game, they took it pretty hard, what I'm saying? Because, the industry took a hit, there was not concerts or touring or live performances, events, and everything in between,
Yeah.
So for me, I always encourage creatives to learn how to adapt and acclimate to the climate. So for me, I took the opportunity to like get rid of the excuses of, passion projects or things that I wanted to invest time, get out. So for me, even though COVID, as much empathy I have for people and sympathy I have for what happened, I took that opportunity for me to look within, process a lot of shit, because you got to look at it this way. Think about this. Most of us just fast paced, right? And then all of a sudden, just the industry shuts down, the culture shuts down, and you're forced to just, sit and have all this time on your hands and think about shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, I think it was an opportunity for a lot of people to be very introspective and think about, mental health stuff, think about, passion projects or things that they've been wanting to start with themselves or other people. And now where, everybody was in it together at the same frequency, it's all just like, okay, well, now there's no excuse. It's like now you have all the time.
Yeah, I know. I just threw a dagger right out there, right at the beginning of the with the question about COVID. But yeah, just throwing it out there because that's when I last saw you, and we did a lot of physical things, and I loved just the energy that was being built in the physical event community, and I love that you said introspective and like just that. Like what am I now able to see that I may not have been able to see before? What else is true about me, and what can I use this time for? Like, that's amazing, man. Was there anything fostered out of this? Like, where are you? Yeah, like what are you up to now?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just to touch on, to conclude on that, to answer your question, for me, as I launched, my artist career, I relaunched it, revamped it into, being a Latin crossover guy, coming from the industry, touring for 10 years with all the majors and then getting into making records as a writer producer. I was like, I had released a couple original tracks and singles, but I felt that pandemic helped me kind of find my sound because I had all this time. I mean, I was still kind of working, and I also had a lot of opportunities to speak. So I did some stuff with the House of Blues Foundation. I did some stuff with USC and a lot of other organizations. But as far as like for me, what my takeaway from that was to be able to like sit in the lab and hone in on my sound and my brand. And when the pandemic, after 2020, I mean, I had a shitload of records, bro, like as an artist, and I had dropped a few, and I had finally honed into my sound where I felt confident enough to push this brand, you know what I'm saying? And that was, I think for me, that was the first time in my life in 2020 where as an artist, as a brand, I was confident in the work that I had cultivated that year. You know what I'm saying? Because I had no excuses at this point. It's like I have all the time. You know what I'm saying? And being a rapper producer, you make passive income and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's like that is alleviating in times like this, which have never really happened before in our generation.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but I'm
Well, no,
thinking off the dome.
like that's really
Yeah.
dope to think about, like how this very trying time on the surface, this divided time, this really interesting time in history that we're going through can be looked at as a creative outlet or as an
Yeah,
inspiring period of time too, because like
yeah,
I get you, and I feel like we're about to witness some of the biggest creative splurge, like especially with Web3, especially with all that innovation that came out of that space in the last couple of years with COVID, and now artists that are proactive like yourself, creating behind the scenes and working on these passion projects, now using this technology and like what are we gonna come out? It's interesting to think about, like, what are we going to come out of this pandemic looking like and feeling like and expressing our creativity like. I mean, bro, I think it's about to be a big, very
yeah.
big interesting
It,
splash.
I think it's sink or swim, bro. I think it's sink or swim. In my opinion, it's going to develop skill sets that I feel a lot of people haven't been forced to have. Acclimating to the climate is a skill set in itself. Like even for myself, like I
Talk
learned how to day trade and
to me,
swing
like,
trade.
yeah, talk to me about acclimating to the climate, because your whole story, bro, like what I make up from my experience of you is like you came from a place, you went and you experienced some high levels, and you've always remained humble. You've been out and experiencing like just different creative zones. Like, what has that climate been like for you and in your own journey?
For me, first and foremost, my takeaway is I'm blessed, man. I'm just blessed. I've been That's all I can say, man. I'm just grateful and blessed from somebody from my background. I'm firstborn Mexican American here from immigrant parents. I didn't have people in the music industry, to teach me the ropes. Like I'm the only musician, first entrepreneur in my family. So for me, my takeaway is just gratitude, bro. Gratitude. I just feel extremely blessed that the Creator, blessed me with these gifts, and I was able to be forced by being conditioned in my life to hustle. You know what I'm saying? Like my mindset is like hustle, man, hustle above talent all day. And even though I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm still trying to figure out, like, you know, are you born with it? You know what I'm saying? Are you not? I don't know. For me, I'm like, I know what it's like to really relate to a true underdog. It's like even now in the game, I feel overlooked. It comes to certain aspects of things that I still have yet to accomplish. You know,
And
but for
does that like fire up the hustle too, though? Like,
100%.
yeah, like hustle over talent. Like, if I have this burning desire, I think there's a healthy balance of proving people wrong or proving yourself wrong. But then there's that, like, how can you remain, loving to yourself while you're out proving the world something like
Self-awareness.
self awareness?
Self-awareness, man. I think Whew, that's a good question, bro. The simplest direct answer I can give you, man, is just self-awareness. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, learn, definitely bank on your strengths while you're still working on your weaknesses. I know what that feels like because for the majority of my career, I was known as an instrumentalist, as a multi-instrumentalist, as a music director, and then I had to earn my stripes and earn the respect and credibility in industry as a writer producer, where in those 10 years of me touring as a musician or playing locally as a musician, a lot of my colleagues and peers didn't see that excellence or that potential in me as a writer producer, or even as a vocalist or a rapper or even as an artist. You feel me? So
Yeah.
for me, I had to just sit down and say, either I'm going to let these opinions become fact in my mind, or I'm going to just put in the work and just see what happens. At the end of the day, you got to bank on results. Nobody gives a shit about all the things going on in the background. As much as I have empathy for people and I'm like, yo, that's great, keep it up. You know what I'm saying? I believe that.
Yeah, they
But
don't.
but at the end of the day, people look at results, man.
It's done. That
You know,
doesn't feel it's done.
so
Yeah.
it's like one story I share consistently when I speak a lot, when people ask me about my journey, is I remember winning the CSAC Pop Award in 2016, 2017 for Comfortable by the artist KCamp, and that record was massive and it was my first placement. I had gotten robbed from credits before that from artists that I'm not gonna name here because it's some of your favorite, but that's on me. Is learning the ropes, getting played is learning the ropes. It's part of the business, But I remember like once I left my band and my production crew and I went solo 6 months later, like my first placement was a hit record. And so that was amazing. It opened up so many opportunities and opened my eyes to what I could do, And then when I went to the award show, red carpet, a bunch of prestigious magazines and networks, interviewing me, I was overwhelmed. I remember I brought my pops to New York for the award show. And I remember I was overwhelmed, like, because we come from like, bro, like, just you know what I'm saying, like, you feel me? So it's like we're not like, we just felt so out of place, like, we're like, why, what are we doing here? Like, we don't belong here. And I felt that, because I was getting honored with like Charlie XCX and Jimmy Nates, who wrote, all the Disclosure and Sam Smith stuff, and a lot of these massive
You do
songwriters.
belong there, brother.
Yeah. Well, at the time I was like 27, I think 27, 28. And I just couldn't, I didn't feel it. I was grateful to be there, but it was just such a mixed turmoil of emotions. And when I went back home, I was like, man, like, I don't feel like whatever Google says I am. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a whole year off because I just made bread, more bread than I ever made in my life based on a lot of these placements in the market recently, based on the work that I've done. And that's like over a 6-figure income as a musician. If anybody that's tuning in or whatever, being a musician, professional music director, or whatever, putting shows together, concerts, tour manager, whatever, it's good money,
Yeah.
And I just like walked away from that, and I bought myself out of that year to got me a crib in Burbank, set up the studio, and I just spent 16 hours a day every single day working on believing whatever Google said it was. And by the end, I was like, either I do it now while I'm still young, or I'm never gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So I figured, all right, let me just lock in, bro. And it's either again, results, right? Either I'm gonna come out with a fire ass catalog at the end, or I'm gonna at least know the answer that I just wasn't, I wasn't cut out for this, and at least I tried it. I know I can always go back to that, or I could always just recoup, because like one of the best things for a real hustler, man, is the bounce back game. Like when you know how to bounce back, bro, when you learned and
Create your own bounce backs in your mind, even like what,
yeah,
before I even hit a real life wall, what can I throw in my mind to drive me? Like, it makes me think about The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, how that guy always found a reason to outdo himself.
yeah,
He would always find a reason to get like a fire lit, like that hustle you're talking about. Like,
yeah.
what is my reason for that?
Exactly, man. I think having a very strong sense of why, you know what I'm saying, understanding your calling and your purpose, which goes into like a more of a metaphysical, spiritual aspect. I really encourage everybody to really be introspective and look inward and seek truth. You know what I'm saying?
How do you, yeah, like that. I love that. Tell us more about like how you do that. Like, what's your creative way of being introspective?
Man, well, for me, it's all about, first and foremost, like experience and perspective. Like, what have you learned from your experiences? Like, not everything is so physical, not everything is so materialistic. You know what I'm saying? We have to understand we live in like a multi-dimensional universe, bro, and we have to look at things as like there's frequencies all around us that we cannot see. There's things around us that influence us that we don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be words, whether it be unseen things. So like, I really like, the best thing I can leave you with is, it's like, regardless of your beliefs or your faith or whatever, like for me, I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. That's my Lord and Savior. That's, my God. So for me, that has helped me with my mental health. That has helped me just have, I guess, the ambition to want to seek truth. Even before, what I'm saying, I had that perspective of my faith. Like, I was always a truth seeker. So, and regardless of where your background and wherever you come from, I really encourage people, just like I'm gonna put it, just be really passionate about seeking truth. The answer is, like, if you have just an honest, genuine heart behind that hustle, that truth is gonna find you. You're gonna find it somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for me, that's actually helped my creative process. That's helped my work ethic. That's helped the relationships that I attract. Like, you can't defy laws of physics, right? So, like, what you put out is what you get back. So being introspective, being self-aware is so vital to seeing the results of what happens, in the exterior, with the opportunities that you attract and the people. And that's so vital. And I feel like a lot of us, like, when we're young, we just go out and we're super ambitious and we just want to, like, get every opportunity. Not everything is for you. And I think the more people talk about this in the game, the more people will start being self-aware. Not everything is for you, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta attract
Like
what you
sorting,
want
kind
to
of
be.
sorting, like raising, like I think that built off of that, now you can like document that awareness into like having kind of an approach towards like how I view opportunities or people. Like what do I do to vet those and to line those up with my values, and like how does this go towards my vision? Like filtering it really
Yeah,
almost.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Flip that question again. Like try to revise so I could kind of because I didn't
oh
get that
no,
initially. So sorry.
you're good. Like I
Yeah.
was just thinking about like how it comes out after the introspective, like how that turns into action and what that like looks like for people. Because what I use that, like what I'm making up when you're speaking is that like, oh, that's really dope because there's a like a patience and a calmness and a
Mm,
asking and a heart opening up
mm,
to receive. And then after I receive, how do I transform that into an action and into a way of being? And like that's where it's like I use the word filter,
hmm.
but like when you say not everything's for you,
Yeah.
like I think like just looking at like, yeah, not every relationship or not
Mm,
every opportunity that comes, especially after like you mentioned the younger years,
yeah.
but like growing out of that, like into like after you got some experience, it's like, man, I realized that this is max value for me to be here.
Hmm.
Right here may not offer that. Maybe I
Hmm.
should spend some more time in this.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think the game changer for me was for the majority of my life, I chased. I came from a point of reference of chasing, and I really encourage cats to like get on the vibe of attracting, coming from a point of reference of attracting. When you shift that mindset, because again, everything starts with the mindset, right? And you know what I'm saying? You could have a heart of gold. You could have a, you can be super lit about life and have all this passion, but if the mindset isn't right, you're just gonna like you're gonna get fatigued, bro. You're gonna burn yourself out. So like for me, the game changer for me when I saw my quality of life change is when I stopped chasing shit and I just started coming from a point of reference of attracting. You know what I'm saying? What does that mean? Let me explain. So what does that mean? Okay. So again, going back to mental health, going back to being introspective, being self-aware. Know the shit that you're dealing with. It's like sit down, have time for yourself, meditate, pray, do whatever you got to do to like have whatever's going on inside come to the surface and confront it. In my opinion, I feel like fear is simply the absence of understanding. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like most people are afraid of what they don't understand. It's not that they're actually petrified of
Say
it.
that again a little slower. That's juicy. Fear is the
Juicy, I like that.
yeah,
Yeah, the
fear is
fear
the
is simply the absence of understanding.
yeah.
People just don't. People just are afraid of things they don't understand. You see what I'm saying? So, like for example, even in like the business world, it's just like business 101. Never invest into anything you don't understand. So, if you think about this, most people never invest into themselves because they don't even understand themselves. You feel me? So
Yeah.
it's just like as much as I want to sit here and talk to you about like get this bag and build this stock portfolio and go out and network your ass off and write a what I'm saying, as much as I want to tell you that, and I'm not saying that some of that isn't pivotal, like
Yeah.
you have to be very, very, very familiar with yourself. You got to really love yourself. You got to really fuck with you. Like if like
Mhm.
like if you don't fuck with you, nobody else is gonna fuck with you, and that is why a lot of people never
Yeah.
achieve what they're after. Is because they don't understand it comes from here first,
Yep.
and then it's magnified into the ether. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's amazing. So that like stepping into that understanding is taking that introspective approach that you're talking about. Like, yeah.
Yeah, execution is everything, man. I wasn't born with like this amazing soulful voice. Like I wasn't a singer. I wasn't a vocalist by any means. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've worked with some of the best singers in the world. And for a long time, I that that I was afraid of ever putting myself out there on a record as an artist, like singing or rapping. And I
Yeah.
was also afraid to just perform it live because I had so many people in my ear saying like, "Man, just stick to guitar, see, or just stick to arranging, or just." You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I had to really sit down and really believe in myself and really also accept my narrative. It's like, dude, it's not about being the best. It's just about being the most authentic and
Yeah.
genuine, bro. Like that frequency will cut through. That lane is not saturated. everybody wants to be everybody else. But like when you own you, like when you're like owning your own shit, like for me on my records, if you ever go listen to my originals, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody can respect my catalog as what I've done for others. But for my originals, I'm not trying to like, I'm not sitting here on a record trying to prove or that I'm like this amazing singer or rapper. I'm an amazing songwriter and I bank on that. I understand how to get a narrative over and have it be relatable to somebody because I'm speaking my truth. And I
Yeah.
think to get to a place to speak your truth, you have to understand whatever it is like that you're afraid of, like understand your
And what's
fear,
feeding
to face
that?
your fear, you know?
Yeah,
Like
what's feeding it?
if
Yeah.
you don't understand your fear, you can't defeat it. You have to understand your enemy. Your fears are your enemy.
What are
So,
some of your what are some of your breakthrough moments that you've had with this sort of experience?
man, honestly, getting acquainted to like childhood trauma. You know what I'm saying? I think for especially as men in the industry and entertainment, that's not talked about a lot. And I think when I started embracing and accepting me feeling and processing and then executing, you know, whether it be reading books, whether it be meditating, prayer, whether it be getting around other cats that have a healthy mindset and healthy lifestyle habits, that is a good starting point of reference. You feel me? So like
Mhm.
you just can't go out there and just like kill it if you're just not waking up every day feeling very strong about your sense of why, you know what I'm saying, and why you're doing it, you know what I'm saying. So I feel like being self-aware is it goes hand in hand with having a very strong sense of why. And you know, be patient with yourself, you know, take time to get to know yourself, accept
Fucking love
yourself,
yourself,
acceptance.
man. Yeah, love yourself. Love the journey. That's what I hear is like love
Yeah.
the journey, bro.
Yeah.
Like what's the end game here? Like does it
Yeah.
matter as much as this whole experience of growth that I'm having?
Yeah. And the thing is,
The whole that's the shit
exactly.
I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah.
You read a book, the whole inside of the book is the shit that you love to read. It's the ending that we're going for, but like
Yeah.
what's the journey is what holds all the juice.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into the movie theater, you're not seeing 15-minute films. You're not just seeing the
Yeah.
intro and then the outro, or you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. People pay to. I mean, obviously, people pay for the results, right? But they once they fall in love with the results of that brand or that aesthetic, then they are attracted to knowing the story. You know, so that's why you have to really embrace your story and like be unapologetic about it. Like a lot of
Right.
people on this fake it to make it shit, and I get it. And I think to a certain degree in the business aspect, it's good to be clever at how you market yourself and you know, perception is value in this day and age more than it ever has been. But I think it's so important to just have that acceptance about yourself and just be real about it. Like, hey, I'm in this place. This is the shit I've been through. This is what I want. This is where I want to go. And I'm in love with the journey. And like, I just want to bring you along with it, you know?
Yeah, and I believe God rewards people who are like wear their authentic selves on their sleeves. Like and I get there's that marketing aspect, but like if you're not like even like, hey, just being honest, I haven't done this yet, but I'm well on my way here, and this is why you're gonna want to fuck with me. And like this is like what I've
Yeah.
created, what my mission is. Like I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I think there's so much left on the table when people don't remain authentic. They can
Yeah.
get away, they can have little wins, they can win the battle, but the war is still unwon. It's still like there's what's the value of life if we don't if we're always wondering about how we're going to connect and like if we're going to make the right call, if we're going to come up with the right story, if we're going to do this
Yeah.
right. But if you're your authentic self, you're free, you're weightless, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah. And just coming from that point of reference of adding value, bro, like everybody got this whole idea that like we're all here for us. It's like we're not here for us. You know, like our story is supposed to inspire somebody else. Like, and even just in business, you know, like just that 51-49 principle. It's like always be prepared to give more than what you're taking. But you can, you know what I'm saying, nothing is free in this world. So it's just like, you know, your testimony here, what you're experiencing, like sharing that is almost like the rent that you pay for being here in the game. You know, and I think when individuals start changing their mindset on that aspect, as far as going out here and it's like, what can you do for me? And more of like, hey, what can I do for you? They're going to see a huge shift in their lifestyle. I guarantee it. It's not like oh, you might. It's not like oh, we'll see what happens. It's a guarantee. I'll guarantee. You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
Yeah, genuinely putting your heart out there,
Yeah.
man. Um, I know like just with your bio, and I know it's probably not the most exciting thing for you to always talk about, but you got some dope names in there. What's some stories from you know, some of these experiences you've had in the past with bigger artists, just for our audiences
Man,
listening.
so I'll tell you stories, but I want to leave the artist names out of it because out of respect, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're good.
But you know, I think for I have one story in particular that I don't share often, so I'll share it here. I'll share it here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like how I landed like a big placement. You know what I'm saying? I know that I was getting I had enough experience getting played out of my credits that when I got a call for like this, you know, major session, and I knew it was going to be a hip hop artist, and I knew the aesthetic of business that a lot of those cats do is just like sketch. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop rap game. I mean, it's not a mystery. You know, that's why a lot of really talented and gifted rappers and hip hop artists, you know, unfortunately they left us before, before they should have,
Yeah.
So for me, I already knew what I was getting myself into. And so either I can do the same thing again and just show up and just pray for the best and hope for the best, or I can be clever. So I remember I had a videography dude that I knew. He was a director as well. And we did a lot of cross content. Like I would produce for him and play live with him, and he would shoot all my content and stuff like that for whatever I was doing. And so, yo, roll me to the session, bro. I need you. So what I did, my plan of action was I was gonna go to the session. I was gonna make it seem like I was just some like nobody, like little guitar YouTube channel kid. You know what I'm saying? But really what I did was I had him come to the session and record and document everything. In the event that they were gonna play me, I have it all filmed and documented. You know what I'm saying? And what's crazy is that when I rolled up, I was just like, yo, I'm not here for a work for hire. So I just want to make that sure because they had a contract for me ready to sign for work for hire. I'm like, no, don't trip. I'm not here for the work for hire. I'll take the back, And like, oh, okay, for sure, for sure. So I had my boy. So I told him like, yeah, man, hey, man, is it cool if I shoot, man? I'm just like, I'm building up my YouTube channel for guitar tutorials or some bullshit like that, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Everybody's blazing, they're high. They don't care, Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Bro, I had my boy shoot the whole session. You know what I'm saying? Just in the event that something would happen, pop up, right? So I kept in touch. After that session went great. After that, I kept in touch with the A&R and the manager, and the co-writers and co-producers. And then I think shortly after, like 4 months later, I get an email from one of the label. I'm not going to say the label either. The major labels attorneys, and they were trying to cash me out. They're like, oh, like we noticed that you didn't sign a work for hire. Is like $1,500 is your the fee that we're offering you. And the record video, the video for the record, the video, no, the video for the record had just dropped like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And the shit had like, bro, already like 2-3 million views on it,
Yeah.
So like
your $1,500.
yeah, because in the email it said that I had placed like 4 or 5 records on that album, including the single that they're pushing, and the single that they were pushing was already generating hella traffic on YouTube. Yeah. So when I I just made sure I stayed in touch and I kept hip to everything that was going on. So I did not want to get played again. I was tired of that shit.
Yeah.
So I remember I hit the attorney back. I didn't have an attorney. I just knew enough to protect myself. I hit him up. Well, man, if y'all want to cash me out for like 75 G's, that's cool.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But if not, I'm more than happy to to go to court. I have the whole session documented on video. Bro, I shit you not. 3-4 hours later, I'm driving to like a rehearsal or something. I get a call from the producer himself, and we negotiated the splits on the songs, or in a literally like a 15-minute phone call.
Oh, I love that.
I didn't have
you on a much better number than the $1,500.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That opportunity changed my life.
And that also like goes like kind of just in alignment with like take experiences, learn from them, and then what can you do differently? How can you apply all that towards the next move? Like were really strategic about that, and that's a fun story. And it sounds like you got the placement you wanted. You got a lot out of that experience. So that's
and you, like I said, you win some, you lose some. I was young. I wasn't too experienced on the business side. I didn't have a manager to protect me or an agent or anything like that. So I knew enough. Later on, did I find out that I could have even got more percentages on those records, especially the single, that was what the label was pushing and was very successful. I mean, who knows, man? Like I would have got way more. But again, you live and you learn, man. And now moving forward, I like to encourage artists to just really like if there's anything you're doing on your spare time, man, like learn the business. Stay
Yeah.
current, stay
What would
relevant
you
with it.
say to these artists that were you know, 10 years ago or 8 years ago or whatever it was, like, and especially like even take into consideration, like now, I don't know how much you're doing with like Web3, but man, I believe there's such an opportunity coming up for people to be able to access this new blockchain space with music and NFTs. Like,
Yeah.
is there, well, first, I guess there's two questions there. What do you think about that new space? Have you dove into it? Either way is fine. And then
Mhm.
what would you say to those people like you too before?
This is a perfect opportunity to acclimate. I've already started, months ago, and I still am doing my research to form an opinion.
Yeah.
But so far, what I encourage people to do, especially in the NFT realm, is like acclimate. This is a whole nother opportunity, I think, for people to figure out very clever ways to offer value. You know what I'm saying? Also, this is going to be another opportunity in the game to almost like this whole space is going to reinvent the idea of real estate and
Yeah.
intellectual property. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
no different than back in the day with what would be a good example. It's no different than back in the day, if you'd buy a comic book or a magazine and then there was like a little treat or something that you got with it. You know what I'm saying? It just made the experience a lot more special and maybe it was a collectible. You know what I'm saying? So nowadays, I really encourage artists, and this is like preaching to the choir here is like this is just a whole nother space
Yep.
to figure out how to create this as a culture currency,
Yeah.
and getting people getting your audience feeling a lot more special about what you could offer. You know what I'm
I
saying?
see it as such an opportunity for those lower grade, and not to label people, but for those
Yeah,
people that haven't yet made it to
yeah,
be able to get some value before they really grow to that upper echelon. Like there's such a gap in your industry, bro.
yeah,
Like these cats, like look at how much you got off of that, and if you would have made that same move, you would have gotten that. And
yeah.
like there's all these cats taking advantage of people, like, and that's what I just see. Like, oh, this is giving some power back to those folks. You know, those people that are starting out.
Yeah, I mean, like I want to. There's don't make any mistake about it. This is going to change the industry for sure. It took me a minute to understand it, and it
Yeah,
took me a minute to accept it.
yeah,
Like, so this is why I'm forcing myself and my colleagues and other people that I have good relationships with get on this NFT shit, understand
yep,
it, and start taking action. Do I feel it's going to be extremely volatile in the next year? 100%. I feel like
yeah.
90% of the market is going to eat shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
it's
gonna
the SEC is gonna get involved. There's gonna be
like
some,
in a macro perspective, yes, be prepared to eat shit. But it's a part of the game. You know what I'm saying? In a micro perspective, I feel like a lot of this NFT culture is being way overvalued. Which is cool if you're on some hustler shit and you want to quickly.
there's the flash in the pan bigger. Like I think right now what's going on is like, oh wow, we've got something here, and there's really not a lot of regulatory action being taken, and like it is an opportunity right now. People are really on that hype kick,
Yeah,
which is good. But then
yeah,
yeah, like what's the long term vision here? How can I maintain myself? How can I be positioned in a way that's going to be setting me up?
yeah,
How what red flags do I got to watch out for? What hasn't happened yet that's going to happen that will
yeah,
be disruptive?
yeah,
But you're damn right, bro. I love it for creatives, artists, musicians. Like we've been playing with it, and we're really excited about it. And I think that like just like not even just this, but like what you're doing, like how can I learn from my experiences? What's new? What's different? What's going to speak to my vision and set me up? Like what does all that little shit look like? And yeah, man, it's exciting. What would you say, like going back to the other part of that question, like just cats like you 8 years ago or whenever it was 10 years ago when you first got your foot in the door, like what would you say? What would you have done differently or more of or less of? Like what would you say to those guys on the up and up?
man, that's a great question, bro. Let me think about this one. Hmm. I would say start with taking self-awareness very seriously and mental health very seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because as much as I want to stay from a surface level, watch who's in your camp, watch who's in your group. Not everybody's for you. Cats that are friends of yours like may not be your friend. As much as I want to say that, that's such a surface level. It's deeper than that. how you're even able to have an intuition or a discernment to peep game and see who's for you and who's not, who really wants to build and who just wants to use you, is completely 110% what's going on here and here. So I'd say get acquainted again. I hate to sound like a broken record, but get acquainted with who you are. You know what I'm saying? And like what do you want? You know what I'm saying? If you want toxicity in your life, cool. Like just be like a chicken without no head. And some people want that shit. It's lit. Like I've had moments in my life where like I was all about that toxic shit because I didn't know anything different.
Right.
But I saw, for me, it's just like, while you're still young, man, read the books. Go see a therapist if you need to. Get around people that are doing more than you, not just in their bag, but also just introspectively. That I think that is going to create a culture of more successful entrepreneurs, creatives, whatever it is that you want to call yourself and what makes you happy. As at the end of the day, man, it's about happiness and joy, man. And it's just like, if you're not happy with your day to day, it's going to be very hard for you to attract quality of life that I believe everybody deserves.
Right.
But
Back to that,
if you're willing to put in the work, you feel me?
Right back to that whole journey aspect. Like, love what you're doing, man. Love it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
It's the ride, man. That's the beauty. The beauty is in the ride.
Yeah, I mean, Gary Vee says that shit all the time, man. He don't care about the bread. He loves the game.
Yeah. And when you fall in love with the game, the bread comes,
bro.
And then you're always feeling a vibe instead of waiting for a fucking vibe.
Yeah. That's how cats put themselves on. Stop waiting. Just stop waiting for somebody to call you and create your own opportunities, man. Like some people got it so twisted on how, like, if it doesn't look this way, I'm saying that it's not even worth it. It's crazy, man. Success is not a destination; it's a feeling. It's a way of being. And I think when people wake up every day and are a day to day, just you love what you're doing, you're feeling it. That's success, and it's only going to become bigger and bigger and bigger based on your perspective and subjectivity, of course. It's all about, again, it's just all about coming back to that self-awareness, thing.
Let's land the plane, though. That's fire, though. Yeah, I love it. This has been juicy, bro. I love every second of it.
I did. Please tell me this is your catchphrase. Please tell me this is your catchphrase, dude. I love the juicy shit.
Fucking Inglewood warehouse to go and play music in again sometime, bro.
Oh, I'd love that. I love that.
But let's where can we find you, the TRU-U audience? Like, what are you up to? Like, where can we look at your stuff? All that.
Yeah, man. So definitely check me out on Instagram. It's at Cesar Allen Music. If you want to, type it and get it available to your audience, I'd love that. I definitely encourage everybody to go check out my original music. You know what I'm saying? My brand is essentially like This Age of Santana mixed with a Latino Drake that raps and sings and rips on guitar, mixed with a Mark Ronson Pharrell. I produce, write on my own stuff. And so I'm just creating conscious pop music, man. Like when you listen to the beats, you listen to the tracks, it makes you feel like, oh, it's a vibe, or I can be at a club and you can, shake your ass. But like, in the words are all conscious stuff, man. So I just want to make conscious pop music, man, that is just not cheesy. You feel me?
Hell yeah.
That's just like a vibe. It's a whole ass vibe.
It is a vibe. I can speak to that. I've danced my ass off to those. So
if you're into Latin crossover stuff, man, check me out, man. And for your audience, I invite them to reach out to me. I'm only a DM away. Email me. I'd love to answer any questions or anything, or help guide anybody. I also have industry programs. I have like industry mastery program where I help people kind of navigate within the industry and to make sure that they're protected and they know what they're doing. And I'm also always looking for new talent, man, to develop. So feel free to reach out.
We love it, man. No, we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Last second, though, we always end it with like anything. It can be general. It can be tied into what we talked about. Just whatever's speaking to you, like a general message to leave our audience with.
Oh, man. Now you're putting me on the spot, my guy.
Hey, bro. I started.
Right, I love it. Let's do it. All right. I'd
say, COVID. Now just tell everybody how you feel.
Yeah, just tell everybody. No, I'd say I want to leave everybody with this, man. Like, I just want to remind everybody that you're all walking solutions to a problem that's yet to be solved. Just let that ride, man. That'll give you the motivation and inspiration to invest into yourself, I feel.
Hey, you owned the spot that you were put on right there, my man. You owned the spot.
Man, I've been on the spot my whole life, bro.
All right, man. Well, it's always good. We'll have to chop it up again soon. Get over to Venice again, man. We love having you. And we'll keep this flow alive, brother. We appreciate you hopping on.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Later, bro.